Very good evening, my dear friends. Today, a new resource person, a resourceful person since 2021, Madam has served as a resource person for enlightening and the achieving the CPGET different university colleges and universities by our online coaching. So we are hearty congratulate to Manjula Madam Garu and also uh, thankful to Dr. P. Manjula Madam Garu for served as a resource person to share our valuable services and majority of the students they get benefited. So that's why we are very happy and thankful to Manjula Madam Garu, and we would like to invite Dr. P. Manjula Madam Garu, Assistant Professor, Department of Botany, Usmania University, Hyderabad. Madam has huge experience in the field of plant sciences, especially the ecology, ecosystem, and the biodiversity. So that's why, in this regard, we invite Dr. P. Manjula Madam Garu. Please share your screen and start your session, Madam. Madam, screen.
Good evening, sir. Sir, is it visible screen?
Yes, yes, Madam. It's visible. Proceed, Madam.
Okay, na, sir?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Good evening, one and all. So, first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Padala Tirupati sir for giving this opportunity. So, today we will start with the introduction about the ecology and about the ecosystems. So, you already know about this ecology. So, ecology means, so it is a branch of science. Okay, so it is a branch of science which deals with the interaction with living organisms with their surroundings. So it is called as the ecology. So here different definitions are given by the different ecologists. So it is a biological science which deals with the complex interactions among the organisms and between the organisms and also their environment. So generally the word ecology, which was given by the Haeckel in 1869. So the word ecology, which is derived from the Greek word that is oikos, which means house or habitat or the place of living. It is called as the oikos, and logos means that is the to study. So after that, the Danish botanist, that is Warming, so he elaborated the idea of ecology. So the idea of ecology was elaborated by this Warming, and the term ecology was given by the Haeckel in 1869. So it is a Greek word, ecology. So it is the biology, it is the branch of science which dealing with the interactions among the organisms with their surroundings and within the organisms. So ecology. So it is the study of interactions among the organisms or group of organisms with their environment. So it is a normal definition of the ecology. So here the different ecologists, they given different definitions. So here the environment mainly consists of both the biotic components, that is living organisms, and abiotic components, that is non-living organism. So here ecology, it is the study of interactions between the non-living components like light, water, wind, nutrients in the soil, heat, solar radiation, atmosphere, etc. So these all comes under the non-living components. That is here it is the interaction between the non-living or abiotic components with the living or biotic components. So here the non-living or abiotic components, which includes light, water, wind, nutrients in the soil, heat, solar radiations, atmosphere. So these all constitute the non-living or abiotic components. So they are interacting with this living organisms like plants, animals, and microorganisms in the soil. So here, next one is the ecosystem. So ecosystem, so the term ecosystem was first given by the A.G. Townsley in 1935. So ecosystem, which consists of biological community that occurs in some locality and the physical and chemical factors that make up its non-living environment. So here there are many examples of ecosystem. So here, for example, pond ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, forest ecosystem, ocean ecosystem, like that. So here these are the different types of ecosystem. So here the ecosystem, it is the basic functional unit of the ecology. So the definition of this ecosystem is here a group of organisms interacting among themselves and with environment. It is called as a ecosystem. So thus ecosystem, it is a community of different species which are interacting with one another and with their non-living environment for the exchange of energy and matter. So ecology, that is the study of ecosystems. Okay. So here examples. So generally the animals cannot synthesize their food directly. So they depend mainly on the plants, either directly or indirectly. So here ecosystem, that is the interaction between the living and non-living components. So structure of an ecosystem, the structure which refers to the various components of the ecosystem. So generally structure of ecosystem, mainly it consists of two components, two major components, that is the biotic components, that is the living, and abiotic components, that is non-living components. So the living organisms mainly again collectively called as the biotic components or biotic community. Examples for these biotic components are plants, animals, and microorganisms. So again here these biotic components, again they are classified into three based on how they get food. So here the biotic components, that is living organisms, again they are classified into three types, mainly based on how they get the energy or food. So that is the producers, consumers, and decomposers. So here the producers means, that is the main function of the producers are they mainly helps in the synthesis of food materials. So mainly here producers means, that is the plants comes under this, are autotrophs, and consumers means heterotrophs, are animals, that is they mainly dependent on the plants, are producers for their energy. So here the producers, the main function is here they synthesize the food materials, and decomposers, the mainly helps in decomposing the complex organic matter into simple forms, that is decomposers. Examples for decomposers are microorganisms. For the examples for producers are plants. And for the consumers, examples are animals comes under consumers, and decomposers mainly microorganisms. So first one is the producers, that is they are also known as the autotrophs. So producers, they synthesize food materials through the process of photosynthesis. Generally here all green plants and trees mainly helps in the synthesis, that is the producing the food materials. So you already know about this photosynthesis, that is the green pigment, that is chlorophyll, which is present in the leaves of the plants. They convert CO2 and that is carbon dioxide and water in the presence of solar energy or sunlight into carbohydrates. So this process is called as a photosynthesis. So here the producers synthesizing the food materials through the process of photosynthesis in the presence of solar energy or sunlight. So next one is the consumers. So they are also called as the heterotrophs. So again, these consumers are again classified into primary consumers, are herbivores, are plant eaters. And second one is the secondary consumers, are primary carnivores, are meat eaters. And third one is the tertiary consumers, are secondary carnivores, are meat eaters. So here the consumers are again classified into primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. So here the primary consumers, they are also known as the herbivores, are plant eaters, because these primary consumers mainly dependent on the plants only. Hence, they are called as the herbivores. So they mainly dependent on plants for their food materials. Hence, they are also known as the plant eaters. So because they eat only, they take energy. They get food by eating the plant, by consuming the plants are producers. So primary consumers, they are also called as the herbivores, and they directly dependent on these plants for their food. So they are also called as the plant eaters. So examples are insects, rats, goat, deer, cow, etc. So these all comes under the herbivores. Next one is the secondary consumers. So they are also known as the primary carnivores. That is, they mainly dependent on the primary consumers are herbivores. So secondary consumers are primary carnivores, and they feed on the primary consumers. So they directly dependent on this herbivores for their food. So examples for this secondary consumers are frog, cat, snake, etc. And here the tertiary consumers. So here the tertiary consumers means, so they are also known as the secondary carnivores. That is, they dependent on the what you call meat eaters. They are also known as the meat eaters. They dependent on the carnivores. So tertiary consumers are secondary carnivores. They feed on secondary consumers. So they dependent on the primary carnivores for their food. So example, hawk, eagle, tiger, lion, etc. So they all comes under the tertiary consumers. So this is one of the example of this food chain, or how the energy will be transferring from the oak tree leaves to caterpillar. And here this one is the herbivore, this is the primary carnivore, and this one is the secondary carnivore. So producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. So another one is the omnivores. So omnivores means, so the organisms that feed both on plants and animals. So it is called as omnivore. So example for this is human, rat, birds, etc. So detrivores. So another one is the detrivorous. That is detrivores. So they feed on dead organisms, are waste of the living beings, and partially decomposed matter. So this mainly, that is mainly they dependent on they feed, they get energy from the dead organic matter or waste of the living beings. And they decompose this matter into, that is complex and toxic compounds, into simple and harmless forms. So examples for this detrivores are termites, earthworms, ants, etc. So here the decomposer, they mainly consume dead plants and animals and decompose them and reduce them to the simpler forms of matter. So examples for this are fungi and bacteria. So the decomposers attack the dead bodies of the producers, consumers, and also the decompose them into simpler compounds. So during the decomposition, the inorganic nutrients are released. So these inorganic nutrients, together with other organic substances, are then again utilized by the producers for the synthesis of their own food materials. So these inorganic nutrients which are present in the soil, so again they are absorbed by the plants, and again they are utilized by the plants. So this is about the biotic components. So here the biotic components are, they are classified into two producers, consumers, and decomposers. So producers, they are also known as the autotrophs, are they are called as the autotrophs, producers. So second one is the consumers. So here the consumers, Again, they are classified into primary consumers are herbivores, and secondary consumers are carnivores, and tertiary consumers. And decomposers, another one is the omnivores. So another term that is the omnivores, that is the organisms that feed both on plants and animals. So it is called, so what is available, so it can eat. So if the plants are available, so they can feed. So otherwise, if the animals are red, so they cannot depend only on. So herbivores mainly they depend mainly on the plants only, whereas the carnivores they mainly dependent on the what you call herbivores or other carnivores. But here omnivores they can if they if that is plants are ready, so they can eat plants or they can feed plants. So if the animals are ready, so they can take energy by they get food by the animals. So examples for this omnivores are humans, rats, and birds. Detrivores, that is they feed on dead organic matter, so they are called as the detrivores. And decomposers, so they decompose the dead organic bodies of the producers, consumers, and decompose them into simple compounds. So another one is so here mainly generally this ecosystem which constitute the two components, that is biotic and abiotic. So abiotic means non-living components. So here the non-living components, that is the physical and chemical components like ecosystem collectively form the community called as the abiotic components or abiotic community. So here examples for this abiotic components are climate, soil, water, air, energy, etc. So physical components, so which include the energy, climate, nutrients, and living space that the biological community needs, and they are useful for the growth and maintenance of its member, like air, water, soil, sunlight, etc. Whereas the chemical components, so they are the sources of essential nutrients. Like again, these chemical components are again classified into organic substances and inorganic substances. So here the organic substances, that is mainly proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, etc. And inorganic substances like all micro and macro elements and few other elements also. So they constitute the inorganic substances. So this is the components of the ecosystem. So next, structure of the ecosystem, that is the types. Another one is the types of ecosystem. So again, this ecosystem